Thank you, Chair Parks. Hello, everybody. It's nice to see you. I am Sue Hildick. I'm the Director of Public and Government Affairs, and I have been at the county about 10 months now. And I'm very happy to be a part of this team. I want to introduce my colleagues, Kelly Lute, who is a manager in our department and oversees our budget, and Karen Anderson, who is a budget analyst in our department and is really our glue, who does all the hard work behind the scenes. And then we are home to rock stars like Dylan Blaylock, who has been a wonderful presence, always is a wonderful presence, but particularly important with all of the Zoom meetings we've been doing. So we appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit about the work of our department during these budget considerations. Starting off, I wanted you to just see two pictures. One of our customers, the folks from the Housing Authority staff and the BCC. I think this was after a Hillside Manor event. And then on the right side, you see the team of PGA. There's 22 FTE in PGA. That's a picture of us at our staff retreat at the World of Speed. They donated their space to us. Unfortunately, now they've closed, but we had a wonderful day earlier this year planning the future of PGA. And I want to just say this team of professionals represents over 500 years of experience across communications, media, graphic design, social media, government affairs, lobbying. It's a team of many talents, and it's been a very stable team. All of them have been with the county for a long time, and so it's been my pleasure to be the rookie and to come in and learn from them. Go ahead, Dylan. Our budget is, as you'll see under revenue, largely a function of cable franchise fees and general fund. And then we are able to charge for some of our services, and we have some salary reimbursement, which you also see there. On the expense side, we're really mostly people. We have a small amount of services and supplies, but most of what you're paying for in PGA is the expertise of the team that you just saw. Go ahead, Dylan. This is a summary. I know you're familiar with looking at this. If you look at this, you'll see that our general fund cut is about a 4% reduction. And we are also seeing cable franchise fees decline because people are cutting their cable cord. So the revenue that the department has had in the past is declining. I'm going to go through the whole thing and then I'm happy to take questions. Go ahead. This gives you a little bit of closer look at the general fund numbers. I just want to point out, while it's about a 4% cut in general fund, overall, the department's reduction is 12% from last year to this year. Again, a combination of those declining fees and declining general fund support. Okay. So in terms of the BCC's, both 5 priority areas and then the 12 MFR goals that they have identified, one of those lives in PGA, and it's a very important one. It has to do with the future of 205, and it lives with us because it's largely a lobbying exercise in that we're trying to find federal, state, and local dollars to do the work that needs to be done there. So you'll see that the targets are a bit unknown. We made some progress in this last special session by getting it on investment lists, but we don't yet see the will of the legislature to provide the kind of dollars we're looking for. So we continue to work on that, and that's why you see the target date pushed out here for I-205. But in terms of other work the department's been focused on, it's been a busy, busy time for us. COVID-19 has largely been a public information event as well as a public health event. And so the PGA team has been front and center, both staffing the PIO function, the Public Information Officer function in our Emergency Operations Center, We've had almost half of our team rotating through the EOC, including weekends, for the last 3 months. And then there's the daily work of sharing the stories of our departments out to the people of Clackamas County, and then also listening to the people of Clackamas County and bringing that information back to our departments. So we view that as very much a two-way exchange, and that's most of the work you'll see here. It's either outreach over the web or social media or a website, all the way down to signage in our building. One of the things we're really proud of for the last few months is working on a new welcoming sign for the county that shows that we welcome all people. Government affairs is very busy for PGA, and Chris Lyons, who many of you know, really does sort of triple duty monitoring local, state, and federal government relations. We do have some contractors who work with us, but it's a small government affairs operation, and very successful. There were only 3 bills that passed in the last short session, and one of them was for Clackamas, and that was to handle the withdrawal of Happy Valley from NCPRD. We're also working very hard in government relations to find funding for the Willamette Falls locks. There is a bill to create a public corporation to manage the locks in the future. It didn't quite make it through this time, but we think it's pretty well positioned for 2021. And then 205 is always at the top of our list. We're looking for creative avenues to figure that one out. We all engaged as a team in our MFR this year, and we made a lot of changes to it. We are building off a wonderful base that our county administrator developed over his years as the head of PGA. But we're calling it our 2.0 plan, which is really about looking outward at a much deeper level and understanding the folks who are living in Clackamas County and working in Clackamas County on a much deeper level. And that's includes everything from deep equity, diversity, and inclusion work, so we can understand the lived experiences of different folks across the county, to really being sure we're clear that public input is driving our major policy decisions in the county. We want to make sure that we're bringing robust public engagement all the time, and we're bringing it to our commissioners before they have to make difficult policy decisions. So that's a big goal of ours moving forward. We are also engaged in what we call the One County Identity Project, which is about really articulating the DNA of Clackamas County and becoming very clear about shared messaging across our departments. We feel a little bit like Clackamas County is sometimes defined by others instead of by ourselves. And we really want to make sure we're very clear about our DNA and connecting with people around that messaging as often as we can. So that you'll see is in our MFR plan moving forward. Okay. This is PGA by the numbers, and you can see we've been growing our presence both on electronic media and in the use of our website. We've had very good media coverage for most of this year, especially I think in the last 3 months, in how the BCC has navigated us through the COVID challenges. It's been largely positive. Again, we do almost all of this in-house. We used to use a fair number of contractors. We've really cut that down in the last year and are using the treasure and talents of our existing team, which are pretty darn impressive. The website was redesigned in 2019, right before I got here, and has rolled out well, I think. We're working now on the intranet, the internal website for the county that is largely used by our 2,000 employees, and we hope to have that done in the next couple of months. So there's been a lot of work around the web. And I should thank TS too, because they've been great partners in that. Okay, Dylan? In terms of the reductions that you will see in our budget, this is our list. We currently print the ClackCo quarterly newsletter, obviously 4 times a year, and we are bringing that down in this budget to 2 issues a year. And we're going to work on bringing up our electronic communications. With the county adding hotspots across the county, it offers us an opportunity to do more electronically and try to move people from print to electronic medium. We have a reduction in our video services work. We have a really robust and high quality video team, and we do a lot of that in-house. I think we'll need to start charging some of the departments a little bit more to do some of that work. There's also a reduction here for hamlets and villages, and I want to pause and explain that to you. We give grants each year to the hamlets and villages, and we view those as really important. And those entities also do their own fundraising and have what we call trust funds in the county budget. Those are becoming pretty robust and not being spent. So we are proposing to, for 1 year, not have the county give a general fund contributions to village and hamlets in an effort to encourage them to spend some of the money that they each have, which is in trust right now. And we don't view this as an ongoing budget reduction, but we really want to encourage them to spend the reserves they're sitting on. And while we have been trying to encourage that all year, we haven't seen that happen. So we view this as a NIC one time, but hopefully an encouragement to spend what's already there. We have reduced community relations. You'll see less food at our meetings and maybe less sponsorships in the community, but we feel like it's minimal, and we'll still be able to do the major strategic work that we hope to do. There is a slight reduction in the Willamette Falls Media Center. We continue to support them, but this is a little bit less than they've had from us in the past. And then there are some various reductions around subscriptions, dues, supplies, and equipment. There really isn't a lot to cut in this budget because it is so personnel heavy, but a 12% cut certainly does what I think we can do. I want to answer some of your other questions that have come up. One around FTE. Our FTE is at 22, and it's been steady. We have repurposed 2 existing positions, and in doing so, we reduced our management by 1 position. So the 2 positions are a PIO, a public information officer, and we have just hired Kimberly Dimwitty-Webb, who's coming to us from the Department of Transportation. She starts on Monday, and that position is PIO and policy liaison. And then we have folded 2 previous management positions into 1, and we are in the process of hiring a deputy director for the department. I don't see any retirements at this point. We have a pretty stable team. Is this budget sustainable and stabilized? I'd have to say no, because cable fees are hard to predict, and people are cutting the cable cord, and we can't really predict that, but we do predict they're going to continue to go down. So that is a significant part of our revenue. We don't have any vehicles. If we had a wish list, it would be to add a person who focused on local government relations. And I think some of the BCC have heard that before. That was in Gary's plan. It continues to be in mine, is that I think we could use more government relations capacity, particularly at the municipal level. With that said, I think that's it. I'd be happy to take your questions.
Okay, great. We have a couple folks in line for questions, so I'll turn it over to Drinda to lead them through that.
Thank you, Chair. Jan Lee, we have you first.
Yes, participating in C4, I'm aware of your major goals such as 205, but what I'm wondering now, with so many of the cuts coming up at the state level, 17% in most of the agencies, is your team looking at how you might be able to lobby to protect funding that the county currently receives as revenue from some of those agencies? I know it's a little different direction than what you are doing, but I'm thinking that it could be very significant to us.
Yes, thank you so much for the question. We're very worried about it, and we are working closely with the Association of Oregon Counties. as a coalition to sort of push back on cuts to county and city budgets. We're also trying to make the case for Clackamas County to receive a direct allocation of CARES dollars. You may have seen that the Multnomah County and the city of Portland were big enough. They were over 500,000 people to get direct allocation. We did not. We're right under that. So we are pushing hard to see an allocation come from the state to Clackamas to cover some of our needs. So I think we're working on every front we can figure out to try to protect what we have and make the case that really Clackamas is right up there in the metro area and needs additional support.
And Wilda and I are working with League of Oregon Cities, so we're helping to push. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for everything you're doing there.
Commissioner Savis.
Yeah, Sue, so how many positions have you, how many hires have you had in the last 12 months?
One,
okay. I think that was basically really the only question that I had for you. Yep, that was all. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I don't, oh, there are a couple more hands up now. Okay, so Drenda, continue on.
You, Commissioner Schrader.
Yeah, I just got a text from one of the Hamlet folks that has mentioned that we're pulling back from giving them dollars, but we're supposedly giving $25,000 in dues to the Clackamas County Business Alliance. I'm not sure where that dues money comes from. Maybe Gary can tell me, but I'm telling you, it's an issue with some of these folks, just to make people aware. There.
I can answer that. That's coming from the Economic Development Fund and Business and Community Services for the Clackamas Business Alliance. But yes, there's an issue of equity. Some nonprofits or other organizations get quite a bit of funding from Clackamas County, and our community involvement groups get little to none. So
I wanted to make it clear for the record that they're two different pots of money.
yes.
Okay. And you know, that will be a discussion when we come to business, talk about the budget and business and community services and what they're spending their money on. Thank you. Okay.
Ms. Coldwell.
Thank you. I just wanted to commend you and thank you for the great service. You mentioned Dylan. I don't know who else has been involved in this, but helping us walk through this process. It's been easy and delightful. And so thank you very much.
Thank you. We consider this a new addition to our portfolio at PGA, which is how to do online and virtual meetings, town halls, listening sessions. We started off with Dylan setting a really high bar of moderating these, and we have been able to maintain that across the departments most of the time. When there's public involvement, we want to moderate so that everybody gets a high quality experience. And I think it's been great. We've got a lot of good feedback. So thank you.
Yeah, I agree with that. Thanks for that. And I recall, so probably a year or so ago, when I couldn't get to an Economic Development Commission meeting, and so tried to find out if there was some way to connect electronically, but there wasn't. So quite frankly, I'm hoping that things like this continue in the future, so that there is that kind of access for other people who can't make it, or who want to just hear what's going on in so many ways, but maybe can't, for whatever reason, can't get up the hill. So thank you for that. It has been seamless. It's been very easy to access all of this. So
well, that brings
the meetings that the BCC has and the other forums that they've done, it's all been good. Thank you.
That brings a big smile to my face. And what we're seeing is an increase in participation, right? We're seeing in some cases almost 200 people call in for a town hall, which I don't think we traditionally had seen. So I think we're deepening some trust by creating easier access.
Yeah, I think so too. Well, I don't see any other hands up. We seem to have answered all the questions. So I thank you very much, Sue, and for your staff.